Good morning, all you lovely people. Today I'm going to be getting my plants. I'm so excited. They've arrived at the mail. I'm going to share with you some of the new things that I've gotten for my gardens. Let's get to it. I'm so excited to share with you what I've got. I can't even remember everything I ordered. I ordered it a little over a week ago, so I'm surprised how quickly it got here. But the one thing I would advise, if you're gonna order from somewhere online to get herbs or bare root trees or stuff like that, order early. I missed out on a lot of good things because they were already sold out. So let's get to what's in these boxes here. So first off, I'm gonna show you what I got from Richter Herbs. It's here in Canada. Some of the stuff they do send to the US. They're based in Ontario. So they gave me my invoice with my list of things here to make sure that I got all the things here. Now I did order a variety of herbs and medicinal plants that are herbs or not herbs. I don't know, when are they an herb? When they're culinary or not, I'm not sure. But I did order a bunch of things because I want to start growing more things for our own medicine cabinet, and I'm excited because I got some things that I wasn't expecting to find. A lot of these things you can't find in your local nursery. I order a lot of these things too to become more self-sufficient and have the things on hand that I know that I can't always get a hold of in stores. So I'm gonna try to, this is packed really, really well. I'm gonna see where I can get. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get these in the garden today. So let's see what I've got. This is some bergamot. Now these I'm putting in the main garden because I want bees in my garden, and bees love bergamot. They're a great pollinator plant. Okay, and this one here, yeah, it smells so good. Two of these. These are hyssop. They've been around since ancient Greece. I know that there's lots of stories in which they're involved in. So I really wanted some hyssop. It's medicinal. I can't remember off the top of my head what all of the uses for all of these things are, but I know that I ordered them for a reason. This one's marshmallow. Now you can use the root for sure, and I think the leaves as well, and I think it's for like cough syrups and stuff. And this one here is, oh, my husband wanted this one. I ordered this one for Sasha. It's a Chinese lantern. It grows little, it's a nightshade. So not everyone in my family can eat it, but they're really, really pretty, and they're really little showstoppers. This is my little takeout box of echinacea. Now echinacea is a really good plant to have in your garden. Bees love it. I've used it before to soak in honey, so I have echinacea honey. So what you do is you get the echinacea petals, and I think I used the whole heads, and I put them in a jar, poured honey over top, and then let it sit for a couple of weeks. Then I strained it, and then we have honey for when you have a cold, and you can put a little bit of that in your tea. It's really, really good. And I think I also have in here some thyme. My knife. So tell me, what plants do you have in your garden? Are you choosing to do more medicinal things? Are you more flowers, more vegetables? I used to be more just vegetables, and then when I was living in the city I did more flowers because it made sense. But then I started learning about permaculture, and I decided that these can live together really, really well. So I had them all in a flower bed that was existing in the last place that we lived, and we had quite a bit of echinacea. I ordered them from the same place. This is not the first time that I've ordered from Richters. I've ordered from them several times. There's a couple backyards in the city that have beautiful plants from there, and they start out quite small, but within a year or two you've got this jungle of plants. They're really healthy. I'm still wrestling with the echinacea. So these are really, really well packed here. So I've got my little plug pack, and I've just been working at getting the net off of here. Now these are just the regular echinacea. They also sell ones in different colors, and I'm not sure. I think the reason I bought the original ones is because they're known for their medicinal qualities, but I also think they were hardier. I think that's why I decided to go with the regular ones. A couple of weeks ago, there was a discussion in one of my gardening groups online about creeping thyme and whether or not it'll overwinter here, and it will. I've got the purple carpet lemon thyme. I mentioned in an earlier video that I was going to use this to place between the stones so that it kind of makes a carpet, so that when you go on the stepping stones to the rain barrels, it's a really nice experience. And we had some of that in the city as well. It overwintered. I'm in zone 3B, so it overwintered really well, and it spread. So at some point I was moving it to other places, and then we moved. So I should have brought some with me, actually. Oh, these ones are really tight. I'm really excited about one of these plants here that I want to tell you about. It's something that every gardener should have in their garden because it is so beneficial. You can use it medicinally as well as a fertilizer. It has multiple uses. You can make tinctures with it or salves. It's really multi-purpose. And if you haven't already guessed, it's comfrey. Now they can spread and they take root, so make sure you think about where you're going to plant them, because you're not going to be able to move them without having more and more suckers come up, because they spread by the, I think it's rhizomes, it's roots, and their root system is really deep. But the reason I love them is because they bring the nitrogen. They have these long tap roots, and they bring the nitrogen up to the surface of the soil where other plants can use them. They're used in permaculture. They're like the magical plant. You can take these leaves and you can make just chop and drop. You just chop them off. So when they go to flower, before they flower, you're gonna wanna chop and drop if you don't want them to spread too much, and put them around your plants. And they will release nitrogen into the soil. It's amazing what they can do. What I like to do is I like to plant them in my permaculture guild. So I plant them under fruit trees, and what they do is they bring that nitrogen up for the apple trees specifically, because I've used them always under apple trees. I haven't used them under other ones, but I'm going to. They created such a rich soil around them. I don't know what they did, but from one year to the next, we had this apple tree that wasn't producing in the city, and then the next year, like, the apples were huge. They were softball, like the big softball size apples, and that is abnormal for our area. So I got 3 of those. There's the third one over there. So here, number 2, number 3, and I'm gonna put these in my main crop garden just because I have 2 plum trees and a crab apple tree there. I'm gonna put them with those so that they get, I haven't put a guild around them yet. I started with the plum trees, but I hadn't started yet with the crab apple tree, and it's looking kind of sad. So this is my cure-all for that. And this petite little plant here, Elecampane, is an amazing plant as well. I have never worked with it, so this is the first time I'm getting it. It grows 6 to 10 feet tall. I'm not sure it'll get that tall here in our area. I'm gonna find a special spot for this because it is also very good for medicinal purposes. So I'm really excited about this one. This here is Siberian ginseng. It doesn't look like much right now. It was the most expensive of all of the plants that I got. It's an adaptogen, so that means that if you have an imbalance in hormones and moods and stuff like that, like a lot of people know about ashwagandha, and after, I don't know which pregnancy it was, I was taking that just to balance things out, but I had a reaction to ashwagandha, but I was then given Siberian ginseng, which also does that mood balancing, and if you're, you know, wound up all the time, like adrenal fatigue is the word I'm looking for, this was really helpful. Now, I'm not giving you medicinal advice. You're gonna have to do your own research, but this is why I bought it. I bought it because you can use the tea, like these leaves in tea. My very favorite tea is Double E Immune Booster, and you can get it, I think, from herbs.com. I can't remember. I have to look it up. But I got it in the US a couple years ago, and I used it every time we got sick. So sick, stomach sick or cold sick. It was really good for immune system. and it has Siberian ginseng in it. It's also known as eleuthero root. I think I said that right. And so you'll see it as, it says here, eleutherococcus. I can't talk. The Latin name is impronounceable for me, but it's also known as eleuthero root in herbal remedies and stuff like that. Now I've got a few things that were fun and a few things that were for my Mary garden. I like to do a medieval Mary garden everywhere I go. I've done a few, but I haven't really done one here. So this year I am going to do that. That's one of my main goals here. Sorry if I'm sniffling a bit. I've got allergies. It's pollen season. Okay. Move the box, get rid of that, and show you the rest of the goodies here. So the next herb I have here is soapwort. And if you haven't heard of this, I didn't know about this until I watched one of Ruth Goodman's farm shows. I'm not sure if it was Wartime Farm or Edwardian Farm or one of those ones. And she used soapwort to wash her hair. You can use this to make soap. So I got 3 of those. They have really pretty little flowers. And then I've got some other things that I've had in past gardens. This one, it's looking pretty sad. It's garden sorrel. Now you might have heard of sorrel soup. It's really good for that. It's really good in permaculture guilds. That's where I had mine before. And they grow these long, elongated leaves. My kids would make herb tacos out of these. When we lived in the city, they would take those and then fill them with whatever else they found in the garden that was ready to eat. And they had them like little tacos. It was really funny. And they're really good for you. They're good to eat in salads, or you can eat them in soups as well. This one here is valerian. It's good as a sedative, it's medicinal as well, and I'm really excited to add this to my garden and try that out and see some different things that I can make with that. Now this little guy happens to be one of my favorite things to put in trail mix. This is a goji berry tree or bush. It's gonna take a while before it's gonna give me any goji berries, but I wanted to start it now. When you get smaller versions of the bushes and trees and plants and stuff like that, they do take a little longer, but they're a lot less expensive. And that we're all about finding inexpensive ways to feed our family and to grow as much as we can, actually. All right, and this is the last box from this place. Got some fun things in here too. This here, I've got, I think 3 of them. They're meadow sweet. You can see that there. Now they're really tiny now. I'm growing them also for their, it says here you can add them to beer and wine. I don't know if I'll do that, but they're scented like sweet almonds. So I can't wait to see what these are gonna turn out like. And the other thing here, these are really neat. These are really, I've been really excited about these. I know a lot of people get them give them to them from friends, but these are Egyptian walking onions. And there's another channel that I watch, and she's always so excited about her walking onions. They grow the bulbs on the top of the plant, I believe, and then you can get those from other people and then plant those in the ground. But I don't know anybody who has Egyptian walking onions that lives close to me, so I thought I'm gonna try a few in my garden and see how that goes. So that's my Richters Herbs order for this year, for 2022. I love everything that they have and what they stand for. I think it's great to grow your own as much as you can medicinally and learn all about the different attributes they have and use them in permaculture guilds and use them around your property to make things beautiful but also functional. I love that. I love the dual purpose of that. I also got another delivery this morning. That I had to pick up from the post office, but this I got delivered by FedEx this morning. I'm really excited that they came on the same day so I can get everything out in the garden at the same time. This is my order from Wiffletree. I'm really excited about this because I've been wanting to expand my berries and other edibles patch in the garden. I like to use these again in permaculture guilds. Oh, I have to wash. Having a hard time. I've ordered from Wiffletree before when I lived in the city. in 2 different places, so I'm really familiar with their things. They had a lot sold out this year. I was really disappointed. I had hoped to get a few things that they didn't have. I'm really looking forward to eventually getting a nut tree or 2. I was surprised to find out you can grow hazelnuts here in Zone 3B, but I unfortunately was a little late and I didn't get any. So I'm gonna unpack this and let you know what I got here. It's packed really well. And the first thing I'm gonna do when I'm done here is put these in a bucket of water until I'm ready to plant them. I'm gonna plant them this afternoon. It's finally warm enough. We had frost the other day, so I'm kind of glad that they came now and not before we had frost. We had to cover a lot of things in the garden, and I didn't want to have to baby any more plants than I have to. Now I'm hoping, I said this in another recent video, I'm hoping that that was the last frost. I'm really hoping that this was the last frost. So we need to get growing here. One of my kids is finishing up planting the rest of the garden. She's planting carrots and onions. Okay. Now these are really small, and it's really hard to find this first plant here. This variety, or a variety that is hardy in our zone. Just dealing with a lot of packaging here, which is really good. They're packed really, really well, but they do need water right away. These here are hardy blackberries. Now, it might not be a big deal if you live anywhere warmer than here, but it's really hard to find hardy blackberries. Now I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that these will be hardy and that I won't lose them. So I'm just starting with 2, and if they do survive, I will get some more. Plus they sucker like crazy, so I might not have to buy more. Now I know a lot of people buy their trees and their bushes from nurseries, and we've done that as well. But I find that the bare root stock that I've bought from Wiffletree has done the best. We only lost 1 thing over all the years, and that was a hardy kiwi plant. And that was the only thing. And they, I believe they have some kind of reimbursement policy that allows you to get a replacement or a refund. Now, some of these are not available in local nurseries. Many of these are not, and that's why I like when there are nurseries around that do carry these things that aren't as common. So I'm just going to leave these all together, and I'll put them in a bucket in a minute here. So I got some gooseberries, or no, actually these are Yosta berries, I think. Yes, red Yosta berries, and I got some red currants. There are some other a different variety of red currants. I've got some black currants. I've got some pink, like a champagne pink currant. Let's see what other tags are here. I can't remember. Oh, and aronia berries. Those are really, really good for you. They have a lot of antioxidants in them. Really excited about that. And this is another black currant over here. I think it was mostly currants, the Yosta berries, the aronia berry, and like I said, you don't often find these in nurseries, so you might have to look and see where you can source bare root stock. Like these are bare roots. There's no ball, there's no, I'll try to hold it up here for you. There's no ball of soil. It's just the roots, and they have some sawdust around here, and they have a plastic bag to keep it wet. So I'm gonna get these soaking for a couple of hours, and then I'm going to get them in the garden. I'm going to show you where I'm going to put them, how I put together a permaculture guild using these berries, and hopefully everything will do really well this year and I can start enjoying. It'll take probably 2 to 3 years for us to get berries off of these, but all of the berries grown on these bushes are really good for you. They're high in vitamin C, especially high in antioxidants, especially the aronia berries. And I don't know, can you get this crazy? I'm just like so tickled pink to have these. I'm so excited that we were able to fit it in the budget, because it wasn't in the budget last year when we first started our garden here, and I kind of wanted to see how the garden did in the different parts of the garden where I should be planting things like this, because I knew this was in the plan, because we did this in the city, and you can do this in the city. We did this even though we had a massive spruce tree in one corner of the backyard and a massive ash tree in the other side of the backyard. And in between that there was an apple tree, and they had used landscape bark underneath these trees, and there was a Saskatoon, a serviceberry bush that was about 6 to 10 feet tall. I can't remember, it was tall. And in between all that area, we put in the black currants, the red currants, the gooseberries. We didn't do Yosta berries, we did gooseberries. Yosta berries are cross between currants and gooseberries. So I think I wanted to try that because gooseberries can be really tart and the kids aren't really crazy fans of that. But when we lived in Germany, you could get red currants at the markets. For a couple of weeks, I think it was in end of June or beginning of July, you could find these little baskets, like we have of strawberries. You get little baskets of currants, red currants and black currants. And it's way more popular in Europe than it is here. And so my older kids really love red currant jelly. So I tried to plant those wherever we lived. And in one backyard, we had a whole fence wall with different kinds of currants, and they got really, really big. So expect them to get about 5 feet tall, and that's why I'm going to be spacing these nicely apart. And they're really, really, really yummy. So I can't wait to use those. Maybe in a couple years I will try to do some red currant wine. We'll see, a la Marilla Cuthbert. We'll see. We'll get there when we get there. Until then, I'm going to get these in the ground and share with you how to do that.
Mommy, I got your block.
So I got my bare roots soaking in buckets over there. I brought up a couple of my seedling trays. I'm just going to pop all these plants on here and water them from the bottom. Some of them are quite dry. They did travel, whatever you want to call it, across the country. We're out west, and these came from the east. They came from Ontario, and we're in Alberta. So they definitely need some water. I think I have to take the plastic off these ones. Looks like it, yeah. I'll do that, and then I'm gonna let them soak for a bit. It's really stressful for plants when they have to travel long distances. And you know how stressful it is when you travel long distances. Can you imagine you're a plant and you have no way of feeding or watering yourself? So I'm gonna take care of these, and I'll be back. Well, those plants look thirsty. So it's been about 3 hours since I started soaking the bare roots here. You should soak them 3 to 4 hours, no more than 24 hours, otherwise you'll drown them and they'll die. So I've got those ready. Got a bag of manure. This is the main area I'm going to be planting here. There's nothing here. This is going to be the berry patch. I've mentioned in other videos that this area back here is going to be a bit permaculture as well. It's already been started, and I'm going to expand that as well as expand into this area here, which has nothing in it yet. I'm going to put my watermelons here. It's still pretty early, so I'm going to wait a little bit and make sure there is no chance of frost, and then I'll put my watermelons here, and then I'm going to also put some of the other flowers and stuff as pollinators up against this fence. So let's get going. So we've dug all our holes, got everything ready to go for our berry patch. All right, now I'll just show you what I've done and then show you how to finish this up. You need to dig big enough holes for the roots to not be compacted. I might have to widen some of these holes. Now currants have to be approximately 3 feet apart, the same with gooseberries. The blackberries need to be a little bit further apart. These two are the blackberries here. I might not have put them far enough apart. And then we have the aronia berry here. And then for the guild, I've got the comfrey right there. I've got the hyssop right here. And in front of that, I've got Sasha's Chinese lantern. I've left lots of space between these, and I might add more flowers. Last year, I had cosmos growing around this crabapple tree here, which is also a pollinator. So I like to attract pollinators. Now, the hyssop itself is a pollinator plant. It will attract bees and wasps. It will attract predatory insects. that will also attack anything like that will cause, for example, an aphid infestation here on my crabapple. If that were to happen, the hyssop is a perennial and it attracts predatory insects that will take care of that. And that's why we're doing this beneficial idea of permaculture. Different plants have different attributes and they bring different things to the table. So I'm gonna help, my daughter's gonna help me plant these here. I did have one more tree left. You wanna hold that up, Rosie? And that one I'm gonna plant somewhere else. That one is a buffalo berry. It is native to this area. It was traditionally, you can put it back down, used by the indigenous people here. The berries itself are really high in antioxidants and can be included in pemmican, for example. And you don't harvest those until after the frost, which is really beneficial. Okay, now we're gonna get our compost and then get each of these holes filled. So we're gonna put some compost in the hole. Go ahead, Rosie. More. We have pretty sandy soil here. There's a good amount of loam. It's not, this part of the garden doesn't have very much clay.
Cereal.
Okay, and then you put some water in there. Put a good dose of water in there.
Like a puddle.
Yeah, like a puddle.
Rain.
Okay, don't let me. Put the watering can down. Okay, and then we're gonna fill this. I'm gonna add a little bit more compost. We're gonna backfill this. We're gonna hold it nice and straight. Now you wanna make sure that the dirt gets in and around the roots there.
It's worse.
The compost is warm, is it, Rosie? Mm-hmm. And now we added the rest of the chicken manure and shavings that we had on a pile rotting last winter. We had those mixed in. My daughter tilled those in a couple weeks ago and they've been just here rotting, and they're gonna add nutrition to the soil as well. For now I'm gonna leave the tag on there so I know what I planted, but I'll just write it on I have a master chart of my garden and I will just write it on there and then I can take the tags off later. All right, let's go. That's one more. Done.
One done.
One done. Many more to go. So in this plum tree guild, I have a comfrey plant at the back there. This here is a lupin. And then I added some marshmallow here in the front. I added a bit more to the chamomile. I have my horseradish over there that I planted in the fall. And the catnip. And that's all under a plum tree here. And behind that I have back in the back there some hascat berries. And beside that is where you see the stick there, that's a grape vine. And then my daughter's square foot garden. And then I have back here another hascap, and you can see the grape. I'm trying to trellis it on the fence. And then behind this plum tree I have another comfrey plant. I have here in the front some hyssop, some garden sorrel. It got pretty beat up on the road. Where is it? There we go. It got pretty beat up in the packaging, so I hope that comes back. And then over there I have a little bit of soapwort, and then I have some mint. It's coming back, some oregano, and on the other side here, I have a lot of mint. Now it's spread a little bit. I will just cut that back. And that again is under a different plum tree. And the rest of the plants I spread out along the fence. It's hard to see from here, but you see the white tag back there. That is blackberry. And then I have another blackberry about 2 feet away from that one. And then further along the fence there where that tag is, I have the little tiny goji berry. And then I decided to put the elecampane here in the corner in the garden because it has room to grow, and I have nowhere in the front where it can grow. Well, that's it today, folks. Well, I hope you enjoyed setting up my permaculture guilds a little bit more here and planting my berry patch over here. And I hope you'll follow along. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We're a large homesteading family. We're a family of 10. We have 8 kids, and so we do lots of gardening, lots of homesteading, canning, and all of those things. We'd love to have you join the family. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.